Hey everyone, welcome to this episode of Ruff Talk VR. Today, due to popular fan request, we are talking about a glass of water. No, I'm just kidding. Just due to a little scheduling, we were
Can I
like,
do
oh,
one? Can I do one water thing?
what?
It's actually kind of cool.
What? Let me hear it.
All right, so we got a glass of water.
Yep.
Water has zero nutritional value, right?
Mm-hmm.
We're made up of like 75% of it.
Mm-hmm.
The world is made of 75% water,
You'll die fast as hell off of it, stranded.
and you can't live without it.
Yep.
So
Way
no
quicker than
vitamins, no nutrients,
But essential.
but without it you fucking die. And it is see-through and has no taste.
I'm seeing the essential of this water as well in Green Hell that we're playing.
Well,
lot.
it's creepy.
But I
though.
die about it from the
When
most.
you really look at water, it's actually kind of a creepy substance because it's like, wow, it's the only fuel that undoubtedly you have to have or you die.
Yeah, I'm one of those people who drink a lot of water, actually.
Mhm.
I'm like a gallon a day type of guy.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, as a lot of people who drink that amount of water will tell you, like, once you start drinking that amount of water, it's hard to imagine not.
Yeah.
Just because you feel so, like, dehydrated and stuff when you don't. So sometimes I'll be thinking, like, man, I can't imagine living in a time where, like, wine's safer than water. Like, motherfuckers
Dude,
must have been
time.
so
There's
dehydrated.
still places on the planet
Yeah.
where people can't get water. Think of that water.
Just the constant
Shit that's rolling down your
dehydration.
drain in the bathtub when we shower in it,
Yeah,
right? And other
Wild.
people don't have it to drink.
wild.
Yeah. But
So,
anyways,
nonetheless, so
that was my
the-
glass of water.
Yeah. So jokes aside, we're taking today as the opportunity to talk about just some miscellaneous banter. Talk about some stuff in VR. We'll call this one our actual Monday morning coffee
Yeah.
episode.
Opportunity arose, so we
Yeah.
took it.
Why not? So there's been a lot happening in the VR world.
There is.
I know. It doesn't always seem like that there's big AAA games coming out all the time, but there's always new games coming out and on the Quest. Like this World of Mechs game just came out that I'm freaking dying to try.
Well, it's actually a mech game.
Yeah, a shooting mech game. And besides like new games coming out, man, the games we love are always popping out new content.
Dude, these games update so fast and it's not like we shelf episodes, so it's not like we sit there. A lot of podcasters will do batch episodes where they'll do 10 to 12 at a time.
I would be anxious.
Dude,
In the VR world, I don't think you can.
I think once we were going to have a scheduling conflict to record, and we had discussed, okay, well, maybe we should do 2, and then we'll just save it for the following week so we have it safe. And neither one of us wanted to pull the trigger because we were like, how many times have we done a podcast, reviewed the game, and 2 days later, now keep in mind, we just did it. And yeah, 2 or 3 days later, the game changed.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. So 2 weeks
Holy
or
crap.
more, wait, I'd be sitting there so anxious that the game's gonna change.
Yeah, I'm always, when I see people, like, we'll post in some of the groups and stuff that, like, oh no, I'll record, like, almost a full year's worth of content in one,
Yeah,
I don't week
think
span.
You
I'm like,
can't do that in the world of VR. It moves so
in the
fast.
tech world, no, because what isn't even here today could be here tomorrow,
Yeah,
and nobody knew that it was even coming. So it's like, I don't know, it's very unique. We
Yeah.
don't have that luxury by any stretch of, so yeah,
you can't even take the chance with like an old game like Drunken Bar Fight because out of nowhere, boom, they'll pump out an airport.
And what happened? We did a review,
And then
right?
2 weeks later,
2 weeks later, they come out with an update.
So imagine if we had tried to bank that one. Yeah, we'd be
No,
biting.
I don't have one example of it would have worked in our favor. And I'm
Yeah.
not saying that your favorite game's going to update every single week, but I'm hard pressed to find VR games that don't continually just better themselves.
Yeah, every single game on my library, I'll always see that update available. If I go 2 months without playing a game, chances are I got to update next time I play it.
Death Horizon has an update,
We just reviewed it.
and it did just updated.
It's
It updated,
minor
like,
bug fixes, so
doesn't
luckily it's
matter.
not new content. But that could have been chapter 5. We could have been here sitting going, "Fuck, we should have waited a week."
Yep, it's just this VR developer. Again, it's that passion that I think most of the developers have. That it's like that, and I'm seeing not only the passion, but some of them are ultra perfectionists.
That's why we see
Ultra
these constant updates.
Perfectionists.
Yeah, we hear that a lot talking with the
Dude,
developers.
there's some I just want to be like,
You realize you made a great game. You're talking
you
about
shouldn't be allowed to You know, there's a reason why people have community managers.
Yeah,
You know, it's like you're super good at what you do, but you're almost too good because you're not seeing how good you are.
Yeah, and how good your product is. Sometimes you'll hear developers and they're like, yeah.
And how many of these developers have ideas kicking in their head? We've heard some. And it's like, why wouldn't you do that?
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's, whereas on the consumer end, we'd be foaming at the teeth for some of these ideas.
Yeah.
Yeah, developers are awesome, man.
But definitely some good games coming soon on the Quest. Like example, this one I'm pumped for. On June 9th, we're finally getting Swordsman VR. You know, it got delayed in the time between our interview with them. It was originally May 26th.
There's a perfect example of perfectionist.
Yeah, they seem like
they're awesome.
I'm not assuming that this game is released on June 9th till it's in my library on June 9th. Till
I see it installed.
But you know what?
And I can play it.
I'm so confident when I play it, it's going to be a damn good game.
Yeah, I think this is a good example of something that could have passed months ago.
Mm-hmm.
All they had to do was hit launch, right?
They even said they had the launch button ready to go.
But they waited, and for right reasons too. I mean, I definitely agree with their reasoning for not wanting to release a game and then have it be upgraded a week or two later.
And they didn't disclose like what exactly they wanted to add or change between May 26th and June 9th, but I imagine it was probably worth it.
Something happened in the time that we spoke to them, and a week later, and it's got to be for something improvement.
Yeah.
But both these, their team is just ridiculous perfectionists.
So stay tuned for Swordsman VR. That's dropping.
I'm itching for that one.
Like I said,
dude, I've seen the footage too. I get now with the poking and jabbing. It's like you got to really wear that person down to.
Mm-hmm.
It reminds me of Princess Bride a little.
And then some of our favorite games just got some updates. Like Walkabout Mini Golf just got a new, much more I guess you could say mature theme course than the Candyland.
Anti-sweet.
Yeah, you're not going to get munchies playing this one.
Land. No,
but there's a great example of a developer that does not stop. Besides just these Lost City courses that they're doing,
sometimes we talk to people and they say things, and it's like the schedule sounds so aggressive.
Yeah.
Even in the big picture, like okay, the year's plan, and I walk away from the interview going, man, I just don't know.
Yeah. How many courses do you think are on a whiteboard in the office of Mighty Coconut for Walkabout?
Probably 100
ideas and different ones that different people are working on. Great stuff, because there's yet to be a Walkabout mini course, DLC course that I'm like, nah, this was whatever. Like all their additional ones are fire. They're great.
Now, if they continue the quality and I mean, nothing's broke with their game. So, I mean, to me, there is no other mini golf game in VR that's probably going to come and knock them around.
Yeah.
I just don't see it happening.
So, Walkabout's one of those developers that don't stop. Resolution, we're reviewing Blastin' on Wednesday, but Demio recently got an update with their Heroes Hangout area where now you can paint the pieces. This is a little cool social thing. Which
is awesome. I know we had talked, and I was like, hey.
That was actually that was your big thing that you wanted in there. You were like, I wish I could,
It's so stupid, but back in the old D&D games, you'd get the little...
I wish I could...
I can't remember the metal. Pewter pieces, and then you'd go home and you'd paint them with real fine brushes. It was a big deal to have your own.
So it's just something to do in the social area with your friends. It's awesome. And furthermore...
Yeah,
they're getting, and this is huge because this is commonly requested, and this was actually a big request of ours, and I've seen it online a bunch.
This is a big one.
Demio's getting a 2-player doubles mode. So to specify what that means, currently in Demio, if I wanted to play just me and you, it would be just 2 heroes on the playing board. In order to have 4 heroes, I either need to play solo
or have 4 people.
Yeah, or have a full room. But in doubles now, we'll each just control 2 people. And like that was...
I think that's perfect for...
That's how my expectation was the first time I ever played Demio, and we went to go do a 2-player room. I was like, oh, we don't each control 2 people? What? It didn't make...
No, they just scaled down the difficulty for...
Yeah. So, and I'm curious if it's going to... You still get the option to do, just two pieces, or if it'll be now that's what happens by default with 2 players. I'm curious if it's completely replacing the other system or if it's a new
It's a
mode.
good question.
You know, so that'll be interesting to see. But
I'm wondering if you can pick the same. I mean, can you pick the same piece? Can you be two rangers or
that's
two meat shields
as the same person?
Yeah.
I don't see why not. That would be a
or
really
could
interesting.
you each have the same characters? Like,
Yeah, definitely so.
So you get a 4 of one character.
It'll be interesting to see how it all plays out.
Because that could really be a game changer for.
Mm-hmm. Although Demio is a game that having a couple class types doesn't hurt, but I don't know, just being able to control two people controlling, two pieces each is going to make a big difference. So I'm really excited for that. Speaking of Walkabout, how many courses do they have in the back room? Same thing with Demio. Who knows how many different maps and chapters are being worked on that? Who knows if they'll ever get released or anything? But I don't know. That's just another company that doesn't stop.
Shit. Demio could drop a change every 6 months and just for half a decade probably just keep. I mean, what's to really change other than adding new dungeons and new bad guys and
to
new cards?
To credit for them, because it's not like a $10 game or anything, but none of the Demio new maps or new books as they call them, none of them have been paid. It's all free updates. That's huge.
My hat's off to them for that.
I mean, by all measures, that's going to continue being that way. I think I would understand if it didn't, but it doesn't seem like it ever will. But they also, I think that's just a different, pricing model. They sell their game at a higher price and give all the future updates for free, or they could sell the game at a cheaper price and then sell the updates. It all depends on how you want to.
I think for this one, not charging is the best way to do it.
Yeah, I think so too.
Then it's as, do you own it? Do I have to own it? Or that type of shit. And I just don't think that's a.
And what happens is you're not guaranteed to get returning players if it's a bot DLC like that for this specific type of game. Whereas if it's a free new book, you're going to get a lot of people who haven't played the game in, months, who are going to go, oh shit, I got to try the new book at least,
Now, you know what they could do? Because I'm thinking of how many different genres of like role-playing games there are. Is they could have Demio as the main game and then have little offshoots of that they could charge for. But it essentially is like similar to Demio, but it would be a different style of.
Yeah, but I think
they're just making a new game.
Yeah, but Demio's become like their shining gem too.
Dude, it came out of the block. How many people love dice game like that?
Yeah,
tons.
It blew up. It's still one of the most popular.
And you and I weren't the ones that own boards and have dice and shit and are real schooled and all that. And we've always talked about the cleanup and then the learning factor and all this shit. And it's like, damn.
Yeah, Demio was our first ever episode for a reason.
And the graphics are good. The sound quality is amazing.
The gameplay is good. So yeah, I have so much respect for Resolution for just
someone's got to
tell
me who the voice is that does the dungeon though.
Yeah, the same voice. I know it's the same voice that's in Cookout.
Yes.
Same narrator. I want that voice.
I tried looking in credit, anything. I can't find nothing.
Do you know how cool it would be to have that voice as the Ruff Talk VR opening?
That's what I'm saying.
Talk VR.
But I got to know who does it. It's probably a computer.
Yeah, it's probably nobody.
I actually questioned if it was a computer.
It's a good voice actor if it's a real person, whoever it is. I like the voice.
Yeah, that's why I was like,
it fits Demio so good, too.
I want to find out who does it.
It fits Demio so good.
I will pay them to say welcome to Ruff Talk VR.
Yeah, so, I mean, geez, I think in the weeks leading up to us starting the podcast, we were so adamant that we're like, we'll do Population 1 as our first episode. That's our number one played game. And just leading into that, it's just like Demio just took over our playtime. We're like, we got to do Demio as our first episode. So then Demio became the first episode and Pop 1 became the second.
Took the back seat.
Which, if anybody is listening to this episode and you haven't listened to those episodes, please don't judge us for those episodes. Episode 1 and 2, terrible mic quality, terrible podcasting ability, terrible everything, in my opinion. But that, what's funny? Now I'm sounding like the developers talking about their game where somebody might listen and go, not bad. Why are you calling it terrible?
No, it was pretty bad.
So I can get why the developers get that attitude, because I listen to that and I cringe.
Shit, I'll listen to next week's and I'll cringe. I'll probably always cringe.
Yeah. So speaking of which, I'll actually wait a second. There's a game that we haven't reviewed yet, so I won't go deep into it. But it's a single player game. Stride. They're getting multiplayer coming up. That's pretty cool. But I want to jump ahead to actually I can't wait for that. That's a game that'll make you sweat. So to be able to do that multiplayer is
Yay.
awesome. Woo! No shortage of those in VR.
Yay.
But one of our favorites, speaking of developers that do not frickin' stop, Big Box VR with Population 1.
Big box.
They're getting
Big
some
box.
some big. We actually just talking today, before we started recording. Like, dude, remember the original map in Population 1?
The
no,
first one.
No Kingdom. You know what I would call Season 0 before they launched out
Frontier.
Season. Yeah, no Frontier.
No Summit.
Yeah, it was much tinier, but it was still big. Like,
It
I
was
didn't
huge.
think it was small at the time.
I was never complaining.
But it's grown so much. I would love for them to do a additional game mode, call it like OG squads or something like that. I don't know.
Just the original.
Yeah, for like a week, because Population 1 is always
How about
doing
this?
that.
Original map, original guns, original skins.
Yeah.
Nothing
Yeah.
nothing outside the realm of release day.
Maybe modern balancing of like,
Yeah.
you know,
Team balance. Shit that we don't see.
yeah, like how much damage each gun does, the recoil, the behind the scene things that they're always tweaking. Because like I referenced, Big Box doesn't stop. There's always updates on Pop 1.
Pop One's sunset mode.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Oh my
That's my
God.
favorite.
I was flying into the cemetery and there's that like green fog all on the ground.
Yeah, the graphics of Population 1 shine the most to me when I'm flying. Right after I pull out of my pod
Yeah.
and I'm just soaring, and sometimes I'm like, you know what, man? It's impressive that they get this whole area running on a quest. Like, look how beautiful
I know
this
with
is.
like 8 people over there,
Details,
3
yeah.
people over there.
Weapons
Yeah.
loaded in everywhere. All the items, it's
Not only do they make it
syncing.
fit, but you can theoretically shoot somebody from halfway across the map. if
all
you're good enough.
syncing, you know, it's
Yeah.
great. It's a lovely map, but they have, you know, like I said, they never stop with updates. They're getting 3 new guns.
I'm
so
excited.
Well, I'm not going to reference one of the guns actually in this because this doesn't count, but I saw them posting like a month ago that Matadors are coming back too. So Matadors were a gun that was in this game.
You loved them
Shit, what was that, Season 2?
when the West came out.
Yeah, I think that was maybe Season 2 because, you know, like I said, they do the seasons. But it's like dual wielding shotguns, little like hand shotguns.
They were little cannons.
Yeah,
Boom, boom, boom.
and I got a lot of kills with those. So
Yeah, you were hurt when they discontinued those. I don't know why they did.
I didn't use the M10 before that gun came out. And then after they got rid of that gun, I was like, well, the M10's the next best substitute to that.
Yep.
And then I started using the M10. Now it's my favorite gun. So actually, you know, that was cool about that. That inspired me that direction. But I saw on social media that was coming back. But besides that, they're also bringing, dude, dual wielding Uzis. That's going to be an interesting gameplay mechanic.
Mm-hmm.
What's cool about dual wielding is at least you won't get a peeker who's, you know, when people are on that, just at the edge of a
that's
fence.
lame.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of peekers.
Um,
I love killing a peeker. When you
Thing
just
with
catch
the-
their head and you get off like 10 shots on them. Ah,
the thing
beautiful.
with the Uzi that I'm curious about is the reload.
Yeah, I
Like,
know
how are they
with
gonna
the
dual reload.
so the hand cannons, you kind of like flipped them back
Yeah,
and it reload. That's why bang 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 bang. Then you
and
flip
also
back, bang, bang, bang.
Uzis. I think Uzis shoot like 50 rounds in like literally less than 2 seconds.
Yeah, it's probably gonna use SMG bullets, right? It's gonna.
I think it's just gonna bleed ammo.
It's gonna be beautiful.
Be one of those situations if it's getting to end game and you hear
It's-
people shooting at you with Uzis, you're gonna be like, let them keep shooting.
It's gonna have to be low damage per bullet. It's got to.
Yeah, we'll see how that plays. There's
Yeah.
one gun that looks like it's got an optical sight. I'm pretty psyched about that.
Yeah, there's 2 assault rifles coming in. FAL. I don't know if I'll call it the FAL. I'll just call it the FAL because no one's saying FAL. That's why nobody says S88 or S88. What the hell? The dumb.
Seiko.
It's a Seiko.
It'll always be a Seiko.
You want to say one fluid thing in live combat. I don't got the time to do abbreviations. So the FAL assault rifle, FAL, that's coming. Then there's an FRB automatic assault rifle coming too. I don't know which one is which or anything, but 2 new assault rifles, plus some Uzis, plus some Matadors, and God knows what other updates are going. And that's another whiteboard I'd love to see. The back room of Big Box. It's cool that just because they got bought by Facebook, long time ago at this point, like they have not slowed down with updates at all.
No, if anything, it's gotten a little better.
They didn't take the money and ride on.
As far as like graphics too, there's
Yeah.
been a couple of times they've updated and be like, is it me or does it just look
a little tighter.
better?
Yeah.
Just looks a little better.
Yeah, it'd be funny if you could go back and play the original version if it would actually look worse.
Look like 16, right? Like Minecraft.
Yeah, no. So props to Pop One, So some new updates coming in a lot of the games we love. Like I said, you got to give the VR developers this credit. And I saw an interesting rumor the other week. I don't know if it's true or not. So I usually don't like to discuss like
rumors.
Yeah, online rumors and that kind of stuff, because who knows if they're real or anything like that. But this one looked maybe a little legit enough that I will talk about it. And I saw some people posting on Reddit that their user interface glitched.
Yeah, you sent me.
It's not the first time I've heard of this happening with upcoming features, but like if you go into your settings, there's experimental features section, which, is a real rollout that they do, where they'll roll out features that, are still in beta, so they're not polished enough to be actually in the settings, but if you want to mess around with them, you can. That's where, like, I think 90 hertz was when it first came out. It was in experimental features.
Yep, I remember that.
So this is believable to me. Apparently to this guy, he turned on his headset, he went to experimental features, and he saw an experimental feature maybe he wasn't supposed to, and that was something called Avalanche that they're working on, apparently. And if this is true, this is a game changer. Apparently it would be a cloud-based streaming service to play PSVR, games on directly to the headset without really owning a PC. Yeah, like pretty much like one of those services like
he
Shadow.
Also said though that he lost all his, like, he didn't have any of his friends on there, none of his games.
Yeah, he said he couldn't access his social features, so he
Yeah.
couldn't his social features of like his chat, like his messenger wouldn't load, his chat wouldn't load, anything like that. So I don't know how much of this is true or whatnot. Like I said, usually on this podcast we don't really talk about rumors or anything like that. We like to keep it factual.
Mm-hmm.
But this one sounded, pretty believable.
Well, we do know cloud gaming is the future of it anyways. So
I mean, like, so Shadow PC, which is there's two big services that do this type of cloud PC gaming type shit. It's
for individuals, yeah.
Yeah, it's Shadow and Pluto. And I'm more familiar with Shadow, and I know a while ago they were working on trying to do an Oculus app. So then Oculus changed their terms and conditions.
Yep, I remember that.
So that they won't accept cloud streaming apps onto the store. Geez, what was that, like a year ago at this point?
Mm-hmm.
As soon as I saw that, my brain went to, well, they're making a cloud streaming platform. Like, why else would you ban it? Because it's something that's so beneficial. The only reason that you would put it in your terms and conditions and not be there is if you want to be the only one to have it, right? So
well, it's logical.
It would make sense to me that this has been in the works. Now, the guy posting about did say it was pretty choppy, but it's possible that, I think he said he was in the UK or somewhere in Europe or something like that, so it's possible he was connecting to US servers or some shit like that. But man, if this is real, that's a game changer. No, it's possible.
I've been totally satisfied with my Microsoft cloud gaming.
Yeah,
and again, it's let me play on my Xbox One games that aren't playable on the Xbox One.
Yeah, no, this would be, imagine playing like Half-Life Alyx and stuff, and all these PSVR, Boneworks, all these games that people rant and rave and they love in PSVR. Nothing will probably ever substitute having the actual computer there. But if it's enjoyable, a passable experience, that's a game changer. The other week I was talking about wanting an Oculus box. That, like, well, I think that they should sell a box that you pay X amount, and then you can cloud stream or stream it in your house. But that would be even better.
Yeah, it's just all done through their servers, and
It's
probably all they're working on is just on their end the amount of server load. And
yeah, my brain says it would be a paid service, because if that was a free feature, that wouldn't even make sense. That would be impossible. It would be such a load on the servers, right? It has to be a paid service.
I could see them doing it similar to,
you pay $15 a month, $20, whatever,
and you get like Xbox Gold and all that shit. And it's like I have them all. When they had the EA Sports one, and now that one I think is merged, but
yeah, for
not EA Sports, but just EA games.
Yeah, I know. They used to have
I think
a couple
of the voice in the head, EA Sports.
Challenge everything. It's funny, that voice has changed so much
right?
throughout my whole life. But it'll be interesting to see if that's a legit thing. I think it's a no-brainer, though. And that would be, what I say?
Yeah, because it works.
Take my money.
it works. I'll pay you up to $20 a month if I have access to not free because I just pay $20 a month, but cloud serving ability for games. Yeah,
because there's the Rift store. So basically, what my brain says is how it would work is obviously you want to give you access to Steam because Oculus is very much about keeping it in their own internal. But there's a Rift store, so it would make sense that all right, you open up Avalanche and it goes to the Rift store.
Well, it would also let developers build their games a little better. Because now they're not just limited to the internal processing.
The reason why all the developers move to a Quest 2 is because that's where the market is. Let's be real. People want to put food on the table, and I don't blame them. You know, were we VR gaming before? No. There's Quests. Now we're VR gaming. So it's a whole new market of people. So it makes sense that the developers went there because that's where the money is. But if they could have that same market of people but make the quality of game on PC that they can on a PSVR, I think a lot of the developers would be happy.
But yeah, that's what I'm saying. They get all of a sudden they'd wake up to more processing power,
but same market size.
But same markets, yeah.
Well, not exact same because it's example. Not every single person who owns an Oculus will pay for the service, but
no, but a big percentage I think would, knowing that you're getting better graphics and access to games that you just can't. Because of
I'm curious what percentage would like. I guess we could probably maybe base this off of if we wanted to dig deep and look at what Microsoft releases. You could look at the amount of Xbox One sold and then see the.
That's the thing. I don't know anybody who
subscriber
doesn't
numbers.
Have a subscription to some shit
At this point in time because it's worth it.
Whether it's Sony or fucking
this is something
Microsoft.
You've talked about privately a lot. I don't know if you brought it up on the podcast a lot, but you've always been like. Why isn't Oculus doing some sort of monthly Game Pass thing like the other ones do?
Yeah, and I mean,
like, hey, every month. I know PlayStation does it.
What's crazy is when Xbox started, it just started with Xbox Gold, and it was essentially you got like 3 free games that you could play.
Yep.
And then it since has moved on now. Like, Jesus, I don't even know what it's called nowadays. I just pay it yearly, and you have like 100 different games. So I mean, the library in the store I don't think is big enough
to justify it. Yet,
but Microsoft started with just the 3 games.
Yeah, and it starts like that, and it goes. Now something
scared the hell out of me.
Yeah, I think I'll be curious if that was pick upable on the podcast. I had we put a fence up on the porch sometimes, so when we're hanging out on the porch in my front yard. Reggie doesn't run.
I actually thought we were getting shot. I'm like, oh,
yeah, but the wind blew, was blowing pretty strong. It just knocked over the fence, the little makeshift fence. And
not that this is a neighborhood I think we need to worry about, but you never know.
Yeah, that was funny.
That sucked.
So something that you got to give Oculus actually a lot of credit for. I've been wanting to bring this up, but I'm like, shit, I don't want to bring it up and lose the train of thought or anything. You play on Xbox and you play on Sony, and it used to not be like this. So I hope Oculus doesn't one day go this route, but you want to do the multiplayer, just to play online, you have to pay monthly. You have to pay to access the online servers. Now, granted, for Sony, what Sony does is, you pay for online, they give you X amount of free games every month, 2 or 3 free games. And if you download them or you add them to your library, you don't need to download them right now. But if you just hit, add library, you have it forever. But you still have to pay to play online. Oculus, you don't. And I think that's, something that they don't really get a lot of credit for. It's never really been that way for PC gaming.
No.
And I think Oculus
Xbox definitely isn't like that. No, you just pay for the subscription and then...
You pay for the subscription to play online. You can't just buy a console and then, without paying anything, play online with your friends. You have to pay for Xbox Live.
Oh, you know what's funny?
What? Because you always pay for their or
whenever
Xbox Gold, whatever the hell they call it now.
I just, since it came out, so I never...
Yeah, you can't just go buy a console and go, woo, now I'm going to go play Call of Duty with my friends online. You got to now pay their subscriptions fee. Same with Sony. That's how it's always. Damn. That's how it's been since PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360.
I wonder why I'm paying every year.
Yeah, because you can't do online anything.
Maybe now I get it.
Maybe you can party chat.
It's been that many years though.
Maybe you can party chat, but you're not playing online on online servers or nothing. So it's like Sony. I mean, that's nice that that's not the case for Oculus. You can buy an Oculus, go buy Population 1, go buy Walkabout, and go play it with your friends. You don't have to do any subscription service to do it. So as much as I want to see one of these subscription services, I hope it never comes and then becomes mandatory just to even access the online servers.
Yeah, that would have a detrimental effect.
Because it's casual in the console market.
I think they should only add something that you can opt to that
gives you either a pre-existing there's two ways to do it. You can either give people, X amount of free games every month.
Mm-hmm.
That's just the free games for that month. If if you take advantage of them, you have them forever, but there's not like a backlog. Or the other method is that you pay monthly and you get a whole backlog of games, a library to choose from. I think that's the better method, but I think you are correct that what's holding it back is probably the library size.
Probably the library size, and now I'm actually...
But that would be the way... Oh, man. That'd be a way to support App Lab developers. Do an App Lab one.
App Lab, that one would make sense.
Yep.
Probably more than the store would.
Or you could do it, sprinkled in with store games too. A couple store games and then a lot of App Lab games to really give the, the spotlight to these developers, and they get whatever. I don't know how the payouts work behind the scenes for those type of library things though.
Probably get pissed. That's what they get.
They probably pay them by stream and in the meaning
you get nothing.
Yeah, cents for every user who play your game.
We're Microsoft.
Yeah,
take your game somewhere else.
That's the sad thing.
You're gonna take it on the chin.
I always like to see the developers win, because the more the developers win, the better the content, in my opinion. So
yeah,
as much as I want to see a service like that, I would really hope that it benefits the developer.
Yeah, no, there has to be a percentage of something they get.
Mm-hmm. But that might be why it would be good to do it with App Lab too, because it would give a lot of these indie developers exposure.
But I mean, developers have to take it on the chin when their game's on sale, and they have to pony up a percentage to Oculus anyways.
Mm-hmm.
So let's say it's like 30%.
And I don't know the way sales work internally. Are you forced to do the sale? Do you just wake up one day and your game's on sale? Like, hey, they decided to include me in a bundle now. Or do you consent with it?
I think it's consensual.
Or do you can you do it yourself? Like, what's the...
No.
The whole
I don't think they're giving you the ability to bug them to be like, hey, put my game on sale.
Well, not on a bundle, like a highlight bundle, but what, you can't discount your game 10% for your birthday?
I don't know.
What's the... You see, so
We've never asked that.
Yeah, I don't know the way all that stuff works internally.
For your birthday.
I don't know. I tried to think of some reason why somebody would discount.
I'm gonna get poorer on my birthday.
I don't know. I'm just trying to fast think, sometimes it's not always
How about
the
I
best.
raise the price on my birthday?
Yeah, now I make all the money.
One day.
So it would be interesting to see where it goes with, cloud streaming services or back library services. But, to go back to this Avalanche thing, if the Project Avalanche is more than just a rumor and it is real, I am excited.
Yeah, no, I don't think in a million years we won't see cloud, or we won't catch wind of something good by the end of the year.
Yeah, and beyond that too, I know PlayStation or Sony, just because we were just talking about the differences in online and stuff, they did their State of Play event where they announced some VR things. It's not like a PlayStation VR centric event. So it makes sense that PlayStation VR also wasn't the center of it, but there were some PlayStation VR drops. Nothing that's getting me to buy a PlayStation 5 because I don't already have a PlayStation 5. But I'm sure the library, I'm sure they're going to hold some specific PlayStation VR2 event down the line where they announce, much more games. Like I know End Dreams has some unannounced games in works for PlayStation VR that they've said that they're working on, but just haven't said what the games are. Fast travel games too. It's like definitely it's going to be a kick-ass, console with kick-ass graphics. It's going to have some fun games and everything like that. But I'm skeptical if it's going to really capture the masses like the Oculus Quest did. And what I mean by that is like the Oculus Quest brought a lot of new users to VR who weren't already VR users, or maybe people have been watching VR for a while, but a PlayStation VR has the same hurdles as PC VR. Buying a gaming PC, buying a PS5, it's the same shit. Mm-hmm. So when you have to buy the base console and then or the base unit, and then also buy the headset for $400 or $500, whatever, and your total price ends up $1,000, that's going to be something for people already sold on VR. The same people who go to PlayStation VR Two are people who already enjoyed PlayStation VR. They're already or PC VR diehards. I don't think it's going to bring a million new users who've never tried VR, and now because of it they are. I don't think it's that mainstream capturing console. I think it's much more of a niche console than like a Quest.
I think it's just a little cute little attachment you can get for the PlayStation.
But here's the thing.
Their store suffers. I think as a whole, I think Sony and Microsoft suffer. And, hats off to them for doing it. They've been doing it
since 2016 was when PSVR. I mean, they were pretty early in the VR.
Good for them. But I'd be hard pressed to see. I think if you gave a guy an option of going, hey, you want to spend $1,000 for potentially PC VR graphics, but not a hand-worthy bunch of games, or spend $300 and have, quadruple the amount of games with a shit ton more coming, AAA developers.
Wireless.
But you'll just suffer a little with the graphics, then Quest is the way to go.
It goes back to what I said a moment ago. I think it's going to be a kick-ass freaking headset. I think the games that come out for it are going to look badass. It's going to be like the same as playing a high-end PC VR game. It's going to be fucking badass.
Mm-hmm.
But that's for an even more niche audience than VR, already is.
Yeah, I
agree.
Like,
do I expect it to be better than the Quest in terms of graphics and processing power?
It already is.
Hell yeah.
It is as a standalone.
Yeah, because it's a $500 PlayStation unit with what's going to be a $400 to $500 headset. It should be more powerful. If it's not more powerful, I'm disappointed. Like, imagine if you spent $1,000 on something and it was less powerful than a $300 thing. It wouldn't make sense. So,
yeah, I'd be a little pissed.
So yeah, it should be more powerful. That's my expectation. It's going to be a kick-ass, badass console. I'm just speaking more in the scheme of I don't think it's going to bring a bunch of new users to the world of VR. But
I think if
I had already owned a PS5, if you could get a PS5, if I already owned a PS5, I might be a little bit more excited. Like, all right, now I just need to get the headset. But like for myself, selfishly, but I don't think I'm the only one like this. It's like, I have to hunt down a PS5 and then get a headset. That is a big financial, overhead.
I wouldn't buy a PlayStation for VR anyways. So I mean, even if I had the opportunity, I wouldn't.
Yeah, I do know a lot of people.
I'll save my money, man.
I know a lot of people who had the PlayStation VR one, enjoyed it, and it had a good, the games that came out.
Of course they enjoyed it, because what else the hell was there?
Yeah,
but again, they suffer. So I mean, if they had like a store that was so jacked full of
integrated with Steam VR or something,
yeah, they just don't, and I don't think they're gonna. And it just, good for them. Good for them for doing what they're doing. And
yeah,
it's going to look great. And so wouldn't it if Xbox chose to do it? And I think there's a reason why they haven't chose to do it. And, I just, in the big picture, it's like, I think they're going to take a bath. They're going to take a financial beating.
Let's see.
They're not in a position to, but they're going to.
Yeah, I think
that'd be my bet.
Yeah.
That it's just not, you're asking for a big nut.
Well,
with
again,
not a lot of
my
value
thing is,
for money.
My thing is it still has, I think it's going to be high graphics. It's going to be high power, but it has the same obstacles that VR always had, which is why VR always had the sales it had. The Quest, the
they don't
hurdles.
have the variety of games with commitments to like really start filling up a store. Then
I don't even know if that's
what's the point?
The issue. I think the issue is the financial overhead of it. That's a tough sell to people. It kind of has the same issues that VR always had, whereas the Quest kind of went the standalone route, which some people might not like the reduced processing power, but shit, for me, I love it. $300, it's an easy sell to a friend to get a headset.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I'm not.
Yeah, I'm not leaving the house with my PlayStation 5 and taking another separate piece that's got to go with it.
Well, it's exactly that. Those benefits of the Quest 2 is what made it a mainstream.
They should have learned their lesson from Microsoft with the Kinect. Didn't work. It sucked. It was cool.
Yeah.
But where is it today?
Yeah. I don't know. I'm not really a PSVR hater or anything like that.
I'm not hating on it. I'm just saying as
I think it's a
PlayStation. If we were talking Alienware computers, I'd have a different freaking attitude about this. It's at the end of the day, it's like, who's your audience?
Yeah, well, that's the thing. You're restricted to
like,
you have to own a PS5. It self-restricts. But
we'll see.
Well, I think that they'll get some good games for it in the long run. I think it's going to be a kick-ass console. I just think it has the same limitations VR has always had. That's
I
the
don't
issue.
think you have the time. I don't think a company like that has the time to like be slowballing it and being like, really, to me they're dragging their feet. I would have expected more from PlayStation years ago than here we are in 2022, and they've been in this since 16. And it's like, you guys you've been around since 2016 and you're not the leading brand at all in VR. Well, when somebody says VR, PlayStation's like the last, you have to be reminded, like, oh yeah, that's right, PlayStation does it too, don't they? What's that say?
I don't know if I would go.
Cardboard fucking VR glasses get more talk than PlayStation VR.
No, I won't say that much. That's being a hater.
Really? This is the first time we've ever talked about PlayStation VR, and we've talked about cardboard things almost weekly.
Because cardboard's such a joke. It's a niche.
But it's talked about.
Because it's a joke.
But it doesn't fucking matter. It's talked about.
No, okay, you're sounding a little bit like a hater. Come on.
No, I've had every PlayStation but PlayStation
VR 1. PlayStation VR 1 did not have bad sales.
I'm just looking at it from a company standpoint, and I'm not surprised that they haven't. Companies doing well.
I'm not surprised that they haven't put out like a plethora of headsets. They put out a headset for their PS4, and since then, not like another another PS5 came out.
Sony,
and now they're putting out. I don't know. I'm not going to be negative like that by any means.
No, I'm looking at it as just 100% from a business standpoint.
Yeah, I don't think it's
currently where they stand, and even their own current market is not where they want to be, nor is Microsoft. So I'm not shitting on Sony.
Because there's worldwide chip shortages. There's massive production issues.
More than
we had
just
a global pandemic.
It's a lot more than just like one specific thing. It's like these companies are now having to chase themselves a little bit. And
they haven't been able to hit supply numbers, their supply goals at all. We'll see. It's a lot of issues going on. Yeah, no, I mean, look, the PlayStation sells good.
And this is an easy one to track because it's PSVR unfolding in front of us. So one of us will be absolutely right about this, and the other one's going to be absolutely wrong.
Yeah, look, the first one sold decent. It's not like it tanked. I see no reason why the second one will also tank, but it's just not going to grow the industry of VR. It's for the already existing niche, but it's not going to be. I have nothing negative to say.
We've got your take, which is
I've got nothing negative.
It'll
to
be
say.
Successful. And we have mine.
Well,
it won't
define successful. I don't think it's going to be a financial failure. Is it going to be their best-selling product ever? No. Are they going to lose a shit ton of money on it? No, absolutely.
All right, this is one we're going to watch.
Yeah, they're not going to lose money on it, but it's not going to reach millions of people and break out into a whole new mass and become a mainstream. You're not going to see it talked about in the same way the Quest is. The Quest that you see grandmas using a Quest.
Mm-hmm.
You're not going to see that with a PlayStation VR. The Quest went to a whole new audience of people because it's standalone. So it I don't know. It tackled issues that VR was never able to get around, whereas PlayStation VR is still running into them.
We will see.
But I'm not gonna say that any hate like that.
No, I've got no hate. I'm just speaking the truth. I mean, you don't have
full disclosure. I will also say, because this is important, I think, for the listeners to know, my whole entire life growing up, I've been a Sony user, and you have been a diehard Xbox guy.
Yep, but we have owned everything from Nintendo to Sega to fucking...
Yeah. But since the PS3...
Yep, that's when I went strictly Microsoft.
Yeah, so I think that's full disclosure. You're also not like a big Sony guy.
If Microsoft had come out with VR in 2016... and they were still kind of like, in today's day and age, and we're still coming out with some VR crap, I'd have the same exact feeling I have with Sony doing it.
Yeah,
it's I just don't see how it's gonna come.
A lot of people have a lot of fond memories of the PlayStation VR. It's not as like this kick aside headset like you're acting like it is.
What are they playing on today?
Okay, it's a headset. Quest. What headset from 2016 is still played on today?
Don't know. I'm just
there's not any. That's the thing. It's not really a fair.
So we'll see. I'm excited for them because it's just another company, and I'm a believer
that's
that
my
more
attitude
people
too.
in the
That's
market,
why I'm not trying to shit on it.
The more people in the market,
the better.
I'm not shitting on anybody, dude. I'm just speaking like honest to God truth. It's like I don't think I'm falsifying anything or taking words that aren't published and distorting them, or some of my thing is an opinion, like I personally don't think, but some other things I don't think it's a shit on Sony. I've been a Gran Turismo lover for. I mean, you want to know the
based
truth?
off of their track record.
Pissed I haven't been able to play Gran Turismo.
I see no evidence that it's going to be a financial failure. There's nothing to indicate that.
I see opposite.
Okay.
We both read different articles.
Okay. Look, when the first one wasn't a financial failure and the new console is not a financial failure, I don't think it's going to be a failure. It's just not going to be a mainstream.
I think they
break
will be
into a new market.
I think they will be. I think their success is not dependent upon just them. I think their success is largely dependent upon the developers that are going to take time and willing to commit to develop their product. Because
I'm impressed with the people already going to it.
Sure. They got some good ones coming.
Yeah.
But my
like
fear
what they
is,
announced the other day wasn't really anything special.
My fear is that,
And look, I don't want to sound like I'm not going to buy a PlayStation VR 2. I'm not buying a PS5. I don't feel like shelling out $1,000. So I'm also not the guy waving the flag around wearing the Sony shirt and the PlayStation VR shirt.
No,
I'm just saying
you get the PlayStation tattoo, don't you?
Yeah. But just to be reasonable, I don't think it's going to tank or anything. I mean, just being honest.
It'll be dependent on, again, the developers. If developers are willing to come forth and go like, look, we'll definitely invest all our resources and make these VR games for you.
Oh, yeah.
Even saying it just sounds funny to say. So we'll see.
I don't know. I've been seeing a lot of developers.
There is cross ports.
A lot of developers have been posting how excited they are to have the hardware of the I don't know. I think that's not a fair criticism to say.
I would be too.
Okay.
I'd be very excited if someone put a PlayStation 5 in my lap.
But nonetheless, some of the shit they talked about, like
we'll see. No, it's cool because this is a chartable. This is actually like an actual thing that can be charted and seen how it unfolds.
Now, something I will hate a little bit on.
It is good news for the community, though.
I wasn't really. Yeah, no, exactly. The more headsets on the market, the better. The more people investing in VR, the better. And the more people investing in VR and having actual financial successes, the better. But, some of the things they announced, like, was Resident Evil 8 VR support, which, there was a Resident Evil 8 PC VR mod that got very popular. Resident Evil 8's like the newest Resident Evil. And it was like, the PC VR crowd loved it. So I think that's a little homage to them. And I also think that's a little homage to seeing how well, Resident Evil 4 VR did on the Quest. Furthermore, they announced that they're even remaking Resident Evil 4 for, just the base PS5, not necessarily VR. They said there's going to be, quote unquote, supported VR content in their port of that. Which to me, that doesn't mean that the whole game's going to be VR. That means there's going to be like VR mini games or something like that.
Like augmented VR.
But I'll definitely say that I think that's maybe riding a little bit of the Resident Evil success on the Quest. If you're, all of a sudden now porting the Resident Evil 4 remake. I mean, who knows how long that was in the works, but I don't know. Convenient. And then No Man's Sky, which has PC VR capability, is getting PSVR capability.
No, that's a big one.
Yeah,
that's a really good one.
Okay, so my problem with these next one, that one is that it's not a new title. It's like an already existing. So it's like, I don't know if that one's gonna get a bunch of people excited. But talk about a game that's come a long way,
No Man's Sky.
Yeah,
I had it launch day.
And then Shell Games, they're doing Among Us for the Quest. That's also coming to the PSVR. But like none of those game announcements were really. Nah, I'm not buying a PS5 for any of those by any means. Like, I think the only thing that could sell me on PSVR is if Knights of the Old Republic remake, because they're remaking it. It's a Sony.
You pay $1,000 to play that?
Probably not. That's the thing. That's the problem.
You're gonna pay $1,000 to play one old ass game.
If I already had a PS5, it's different. If you're in the market of people who own a PS5, however millions of people have bought one, it's one thing. It's tough if you see a title you want to do exactly what you said. Are you going to spend $1,000 for it?
Mm-hmm.
Fuck no, probably not.
And then, what are the?
Yeah, if you already have a console,
the actual game cost is like unjustifiably huge at that point. Also,
yeah, no, you're spending $1,000 plus. It's absolutely. If you already have a console, it's like, all right, maybe I'll bite the bullet and get the headset, but you're just running into the same issues VR has always had, you know? So I'm happy it's coming. It's more excitement for the VR world, gets people talking, gets, casual people watching on YouTube and stuff like that, gives people stuff to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
More people in the VR world, the better, but I don't think it's going to be a Quest killer or anything like that by any means.
No, I don't even think it'll be a blip on the radar.
No.
I mean, I could be an asshole and say, look, I'd be surprised if it's not abandoned in 5 years. But I won't, because they've spent so much damn money. If anything, they could just go, no, we're really working on an AR thing.
In 5 years, I'm sure they'll be pushing PSVR2. That's the way the life cycle of gaming goes.
But I am real curious on the financials, how it's going to work out for them.
Yeah, I wish them the best, but I don't think it's going to be a Quest. I'll say that. I don't think it's going to be a Quest. It's not bringing that new audience. It's not selling like that.
No, I've always had some grudge with both the two top players for like having the potential and the resources and the time to have been like forefathers in a lot of different things, not just VR, and just
keeping it safe.
Why bother? We just want to make our fucking money.
Yeah.
And it's like, and then you end up doing it years down the road. And then to me, it's like, you know what? People are kind of smart to your ways here, and you're just squeezing. And now because someone else is making a little bit of juice, you got to try to figure out a way to put that's why I'm watching Microsoft with like one eye open, because
I know it's not going to happen.
Some
because
shady shit getting ready to go down.
When Microsoft brings VR, capability to their console, whatever, they're going to want it to be their own headset, because it's Microsoft. I don't blame them. But in a fantasy dreamland, I would love to see a Quest 2 capability on the Xbox. I think that would be like, oh my god, that would be a game changer. Next, now you have Xbox VR versus PSVR.
Fucking lawsuits would be flying Monday morning.
For what?
Somebody would get banned saying unfair or some shit.
Oh, anti-competitive? Yeah. I don't think so.
They're
no,
bullies.
Hell yeah.
Taking over the world.
That would be such a great partnership. It's not going to happen because, like I said, when Microsoft does VR, they're going to want it to be Microsoft VR, not Oculus Quest compatible VR. But in just a fantasy dreamland, that would be freaking cool.
It'd be cool to play Halo on the Quest.
So, man, this episode went a lot longer than I thought it would.
Sorry.
You want to wrap this baby up?
I'd get you fired up real quick before we go, since I got fired up with the Sony.
Okay, what's that?
Ready?
Yeah.
So, lady on the news this week.
Oh, fuck you. Don't even start.
Was in a social program.
Horizon Worlds.
Yep. And she was raped.
So she says.
She was raped.
Now,
before I turn this over to you, I just want people to know that I personally think that what this lady's doing is really degrading what is actual survivors of rape, and not this lady's distorted. I'll let you tell the version, because we when you look into the actual story, it gets don't read
worse.
The headline,
but just on conceptual.
We broke it down because we were like, what program allows you to physically grab a person?
Especially when I saw Horizon Worlds, which I know Horizon Worlds because they had this claim a while ago. So they set the requirement that you have to turn off.
Can't get raped, dude.
You by default can't go 4 feet within somebody. If you try to go 4 feet within them, it zooms you back out. So you can turn off that setting though and allow people to get in your space. So right off the top, I was a little curious, but
we'll paint the picture here.
I'll agree. If you want to get me a little fired up, it is a little offensive, I would say, to anybody who's actually experienced
suffered from sexual assault
or rape, an experience that they don't have the ability to just take a headset off of or leave the program.
Mm-hmm.
When somebody's suffering from something like that, there's no take off the headset.
No.
There's no power button. I'm just saying, it's just like when you're in VR, just take off the fucking headset.
Unplug it.
Like, don't compare it. Don't compare that experience
people should know too.
To a real life experience that somebody went through.
Yeah.
Where they were actually sexually. No, it's unbelievably insulting.
This lady comes across like the victim, but then come to find out,
she works for a competitive VR company that's working on a VR social platform, pretty much a competitor to
a non-rapey one.
Well, let's see how that works. But it's pretty much a competitor to Horizon Worlds that her company's working on. So right off the top, she's a Horizon Worlds competitor, And then the details of this is that she went into a private room with some, she doesn't say friends, but she said she went into some private room because she wanted to do some research. And she said that the people were saying lewd comments to her and passing around alcohol and drinking it.
Yep, in bottles.
In bottles. So virtual, like I've unfortunately
make-believe alcohol.
Unfortunately, like when we play cards and tankards, when I pick up the tankard glass and I drink it, I don't get drunk in real life. Unfortunately, I don't even taste anything.
Figure.
It just disappears into the netherland. There's no actual beverage there. So they're not passing around real vodka. They're passing around a digital item. But, you know, they're drinking vodka and saying lewd comments. And then they persuade her to shut off her 4-foot boundary. So she went into her settings, shut off the 4-foot boundary. And then they said that they lured her digital character that she controls. You cannot push somebody in these platforms. It's not like you yourself can move them. In fact, in all of these games, when you touch somebody, your hand kind of like goes through them. So you have to
ghosted. You're ghosted.
Yeah. Like I've seen one of my first times in Population 1, somebody walked up to me, and the way Population 1 works is like your hand's like open and shut the whole hand. And they walked up to me and go, to my nutsack, you know? But guess what? It wasn't, I didn't feel anything. It went through my character. He was just stopping his own hand there. But then, you know what? And that I actually had less consent than this lady, but nonetheless. So they had her walk herself into this room where she said that the character bent her over.
Which isn't, it's not.
Which meanwhile, in order for your character to bend over, unfortunately.
You bent over.
Yeah. She's doing it.
They probably say, hey, bend over.
And they said that the character, you know, pretty much doggy styled her behind her while the other characters watched through the window. She partook in all of this. And then she said that the experience, that what was going through her brain was, quote, like she said, WTF, like what the fuck's going on? She's like, she didn't know how to feel. She felt violated, but she stayed for research purposes. Fuck you to equivalent that to rape or sexual assault.
Right? Isn't that terrible?
How do you sleep at night?
Because the problem
piece
is
of shit.
The problem is,
and then to write a fucking article like that while you're making a competitive, that stuff works me up because like there's, you know, people are gonna read the headline.
That's kind of what I was getting at. You read the headline, it sounds like something
like what goes
happened.
on in the metaverse. Yeah. People don't understand. Like
But how many people didn't read the story?
How many people read the headline who have never even used a headset? They don't know it's so ridiculous. That's an offensive article. Screw that lady.
I think she was probably in Rec Room or something.
No, she said Horizon Worlds.
Okay.
Again, you got to turn off the setting in order to be able to get close to people.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Yeah.
You know,
I just thought that was like way
and
too...
they bent her over. What?
You can't physically.
Hey, send me these apps.
That was the first thing I had asked you. I was like, what? I said, dude, what program was this lady using that she was manhandled like that?
Here's what I think. I think she got a couple of her friends, maybe her husband, the unfortunate soul to marry that fucking gremlin. So she got a bunch of her friends together. They hit record on their headset, and they freaking role played for 10 minutes.
Role played.
And she consented, and she's like, "All right, I'll take off my." And look, the article that she posted this on, they posted the video of them saying lewd comments and drinking vodka. But they wouldn't post the part of the actual sexual assault happening because
somebody who doesn't have a headset would be smart enough to go like.
Because they were laughing while it was happening.
Why are you laughing? And why did you bend over on your own?
She pulled a prank with her friends, then wrote some "I'm offended" article.
You shouldn't be allowed to publish an article that makes a claim like that.
That's defamation.
You shouldn't be. I just don't understand how it's the fact it got real media play though.
Yeah,
that's the thing, and it's like.
And so many of the people who share it have never actually experienced these apps, so it's just the headline.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, fuck that lady. I'm sorry, excuse my language. I'm worked up. I'm done.
All right, that's my payback for the Sony conversation.
Yeah.
Because you knew who that was going to go.
Yep. I hope that lady has to... Never mind.
Yep, let it go. It's all right. No, we'll be hearing more about her, I'm sure, or her attorney. One of the two.
All I was going to say is I hope it takes her a lot of personal thought in order to go to sleep every night. Because I personally...
Let's get her on for an
interview. I personally would not be able to sleep at night if I knew I was that much of a piece of shit. I would not be able to sleep at night.
No, we're going to try to get her on.
What fucking story was that?
No, let's try to get from the source's mouth, you know?
Yeah.
We'll find out how this really played out.
Go
I mean,
read
it happened to her.
Go go to anybody who listens to this podcast who has knowledge of those platforms. Will obviously say, hey, look, obviously I go into Rec Room. I don't go into Rec Room because there's a bunch of little kids being annoying.
Yeah.
But guess what I do? I close the application.
Yeah, I don't go in it. I've been in a Rec Room so little time. We'd even talked about reviewing it, and I'm like,
imagine if I went into Rec Room, right, and then I wrote an article that I was harassed,
was molested by little high-screech
harassed and
voices.
terrorized and bullied by kids who would not let me leave. Like, bro, close the
I
app.
had no ability, dude. You don't understand? I was in a world. I can't leave.
Yeah, she went to a private world with them. She could have even stayed in the same game, but just left the room.
They forced me to enter the code.
She said she stayed for research.
Thank God this lady was only working in the virtual world, because I can only imagine the shit that she's probably done in the real world.
Human being. Human being.
I think what at the end of it, it's the thing that got me the most is it's insulting to actual victims of assault. I just don't think.
If she said I got traumatized in the metaverse,
yeah, if I was triggered. I was, that's something we're all accustomed to.
I was harassed in the metaverse. Yeah. That's a different. You can
Get
spin
used to
it. Now you can spin it. Okay, but to say you were sexually assaulted or you were raped in the metaverse,
you weren't.
Stop.
You had every ability not to be there and walk away and whatever.
Not just take off your headset, leave the app, leave that world.
Not listen to strangers who
not
invited
turn off your setting.
This is the type of person she is. Strangers told her to
no. Her friends definitely, without a doubt, invited her in this room. They said,
yourself.
Let's turn off our set. Like there's so many steps that have to go through.
Over. Dude, shame on the news for not
sharing.
one person in the news.
You cannot bend somebody over.
Exactly.
And again, if I touch you, by default, I would go backwards 4 feet. But if I touch you, my arm just goes through you.
Since I haven't seen the video because it's too triggering and sensitive material, do you think like when they have her bent over, you hear in the background?
Somebody slapping their own hands. Oh, I think in the articles too, she said while the other people were watching through the window, they were passing around vodka still.
Yep, they're getting drunk.
And maybe the guy was drinking vodka while dogging her.
Getting loaded.
Yeah.
Get the fuck out, dude.
Yeah.
You know what it was?
To call that sexual assault.
You know what? This lady's I just figured it out, man. She wasn't in Horizon Worlds. She was in fucking drunken bar fight and just didn't know it. What the fuck? Those weren't even real people.
She was in some POV video that she turned on. She went to Pornhub on her browser or something.
Right. What the fuck? No, I was really upset by that. But I knew that one was going to get you exceptionally worked up.
Well, the only reason it gets me worked up is this exact thing that you said, is that it is offensive to anybody who has, experienced such heinous things.
She should feel a little
in the real non-metaverse world.
She should feel some shame in her privilleged existence where she
She
can
probably
call.
does it.
I'm good.
I'm done.
I'm
Go
good.
type up another article about how. I don't even want.
That's all right. 1 or 2 lawsuits is fine by me. We're good. We
drink
hit our
it.
quota.
All right, I'm going to bed.
All right.
Have a good night, guys.
All right,
Hope
take
you
care.
enjoyed this episode.
Have a great week.
Yep.